We really are hoping that for the people of Iran, it will not be acceptable if there's a deal done and these people are still in power. If you're in a community and someone's killed all their own children, what are they going to do to you? People don't want people like that in their community.
The Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has announced a series of sanctions against the Iranian regime for human rights violations. Meanwhile, the United States carrier group, a powerful carrier group, is getting closer to Iran with the capability of striking into Iran itself with a good deal of force. We don't know just how strong, how vicious the regime's crackdown on protesters in Iran itself is going on, because there is a digital blackout. But over the weekend, President Trump was asked about his strategy.
I mean, I certainly can't tell you that, but we do have very big, powerful ships heading in that direction, as you know. I hope they negotiate something that's acceptable. If you could make a negotiated deal that would be satisfactory with no nuclear weapons, they should do that. But I don't know that they will, but they are talking to us, seriously talking to us.
So they're talking to us, says President Trump. He's looking for a deal, and he mentions the need, as he sees it, for Iran to give up any capability to develop nuclear weapons. Omid Djalili is the British-Iranian comedian and actor, and he's live on the line. Omid, welcome to you.
Thank you, John. Great to be here.
It's good to have you here, Omid. I'm just listening to the president there. He's been speaking in these terms for a few days now, talking about a deal that's needed between the United States and Iran. He talks about the capacity to make nuclear weapons. He talks not at all, it seems now, about the threat to the people of Iran and oppression and the killing of protesters. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can tell you right now, the people of Iran did not take to the streets and protest in their millions for the country to get a better deal. When Ronald Reagan said, about the Berlin Wall, and those of us old enough to know how significant that was historically when the Berlin Wall came down, he said, we need to tear this wall down. He didn't say, we need to make this wall a little smaller. So we can only assume that Donald Trump will be true to his word when he says help is on its way. He did say, keep protesting, help is on its way. And sadly, since then, 43,000 people estimated, and that seems to be even a low estimate, have sadly been killed by the regime. So we are only hoping that there is some kind of smoke and mirrors going on, and there's something going on behind the scenes where the regime are totally isolated. They've been put on the terrorist list by the whole of Europe. We understand Britain will follow. They're completely isolated, but yet they're talking a big game, saying we will hit America with our might and with the full backing of our people. Well, when you say our people, you've just been massacring your people. So who's going to help you out?
So, I mean, there is, as we say, a digital and internet blackout going on. But I know you have your contacts with people there on the ground in Iran. Do you get any sense of what is happening there on the streets? Has the protests and the reaction, the killing, the oppression, has that stopped, as Donald Trump suggested it did before he called off the last Fed?
It did not stop at all. The executions did not stop one bit. And we are seeing the full horror. Well, you could never see the full horror where you've had a digital blackout for 15 days. I don't ever share that kind of thing on my Twitter or Instagram, but I felt compelled to share one thing, which was a video where I'd heard from a human rights lawyer who had said apparently they're running out of body bags. So many people have been killed. So there was a video saying people have run out of body bags and have a look at this. And it was deeply shocking and disturbing. I'm saying this as a human being, not an Iranian, to see these massacred people who are piled up, literally piled up in hospitals, some of them still intubated, some of them were obviously in their hospital beds as these regime individuals were coming along and putting a bullet between their foreheads. I mean, this is shocking for you to hear, but can you imagine being in a hospital bed and they just start shooting, killing everyone in one shot, and they're piled up. And it's one of the most shocking things, and even today on the front page of Payam Imar, which is the main regime newspaper, they just put a headline saying the dead. And with tiny writing, they've written down what I would say about 3,000 names. And I think some commentators are saying this is them saying, if we can do this to our own people, think what we can do to you. They're using it as a psychological tactic in war.
Yes. Omid, what are you and the friends and contacts you talk to in Iran, what are they wanting from President Trump and his military force now? I mean, you'll know very well the idea of removing a regime through bombing, military strikes, easy to say, often very hard to do. And in Iran, you have a very sophisticated machine of oppression and military force behind it.
And it's global. The tentacles of the regime and the IRGC is all around the world. Look, nobody wants a full-scale war. And I know that the Iranians are warning everyone, saying, look, if you attack us, there's going to be a big war in the region. And I can tell you, we really doubt that, because Russia have just said they're not going to be defending Iran. Everyone in the region is hoping this regime will go. And I think that what's probably happening, I'm not a political analyst, I'm not a military analyst at all, but what I'm hoping is that with the negotiations going on and America giving Iran totally unacceptable lines like don't ever attack Israel, give us a lot of your oil, and don't enrich uranium, no more nuclear deals, don't even produce ballistic missiles. That's something that's never going to be acceptable to the Islamic regime. So the hope is that with this diplomatic pressure, they're on the terrorist list. So this is a pariah state now. Very few countries are going to do business with them in any kind of good faith. They've massacred a whole lot of their own people. The idea is that maybe they can be shown the door and told that the only way you can survive is if we drop kick you into prison cells, and maybe you can be accountable in law courts, international law courts, and hopefully no more people will die. We're always hoping for a more peaceful resolve. I don't think that's going to happen. There is a kind of no one likes us, we don't care kind of diplomatic attitude we're getting from Iran. So it's a question of let's wait and see. But the idea is that even though Trump is a little bit crazy, at least he was crazy enough to try and bring down this regime. And I hope that whatever happens and the way they do it will be done with the least amount of bloodshed.
You'll know, though, I mean, infinitely better than me, that removing the theocratic regime, removing the Ayatollahs, does not get you straight to some sort of liberal alternative, still less a liberal democratic alternative. The IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard, are there, perfectly capable of taking over the reins of power. I mean, it could get much worse before it gets better, I suppose.
Well, I think everyone's aware of that. And by the way, this is not just America or Israel who are doing the negotiations behind the scenes. This is an allied, I suppose, force now who are in negotiations. And the idea is that it won't be the IRGC. The people of Iran have always said, we will choose who our leaders are. We will choose how we govern. It does seem to be the one person they're calling for. Again, I'm saying this as an observer, is Reza Pahlavi, the son of the former Shah, who is setting himself up not as a leader, but as a custodian of transition. Yes. And that is something we're hoping that he will work with all the allied people and all the allied forces. And then hopefully a lot of the leaders are actually in prisons in Iran, and we're hoping that they will be released and some kind of interim government will be formed. But we don't know.
Okay.
God knows, John. I'm just here. If I was an Iranian watching this, the last person I would want is a comedian talking about this kind of thing. But I'm just telling you that I'm following everything on the Telegram channels, which you can trust mostly because people are showing real videos. And we're watching and we're waiting and we're hoping. We really are hoping that for the people of Iran, it will not be acceptable if there's a deal done and these people are still in power. If you're in a community and someone's killed all their own children, what are they going to do to you? People don't want people like that in their community.
All right, but you're not a politician. You're not a military man. But your interest and your concern is deep, and it's good to have you on. Omid Djalili, thank you.